Hi everyone, Dwayne Boswell Shell here for our weekly installment of Ask an Attorney. And I don't know about you guys, but I have enjoyed some time sitting outside this morning. It is beautiful outside, and I like to take as much time as I can. My allergies play a little havoc when I do that, but the sinus infection that I usually get as a result of that is worth the just the calming peace that you can get when you're sitting outside. So, um, we're in November. Can you believe it, guys? 2020 has just been crazy, and we are almost through 2020. We've survived it, and I can say that while a lot of people are saying it was a hard year, it was actually a year full of opportunities. Um, to be able just to grow and focus on areas that needed to be focused on that are hard to pay attention to whenever you're in the daily hustle and bustle of driving here, driving there. And while I miss being in person with a lot of my friends and colleagues and just being able to share that personal connection that you get when you're face to face, I do believe that we've had some opportunities that we may not have been able to take otherwise, and I know spending time with family is one of those. So, speaking of families, today's topic that I'm going to talk a little bit about is adoption. So, uh, coming up here in a couple weeks is National Adoption Day, which in Galveston County we have a National Adoption Day Foundation, and it's ran by local attorneys and some members of other groups. And it is a day where typically it's a big celebration, and attorneys and other organizations work together to finalize the adoptions of children that are in CPS custody that are ready to be adopted. In years past, typically we will adopt out and finish those adoptions of 20 to 30 kids. So it's a fun time. Um, every family law attorney enjoys and just absolutely loves adoptions. It is the one time in the courtroom in family courts where everybody is happy. There's no fighting. There is just a joy that comes over the judges. It sets the mood for their day, and they love them as well. So I just cannot say enough about how much I enjoy helping solidify an adoption and just give that peace of mind that that child is now in their forever home, and they've got that stability that they need. So, when you're considering adoption, what are some things that you need to think about? And there's different methods and ways to go about adoptions. And if you have a child that's in CPS custody and you're adopting that child, there's a little bit different set of rules that go with that. But typically, you're going to be helped through that process by CPS in most cases, and they'll kind of give you the information that you need, and you can hire your own attorney to make that process go a little bit faster. Um, and sometimes they'll even help out with the cost of that with some funding that they may have. But that's on a case-by-case basis, and you need to talk with the CPS worker in that case. Private adoptions are a little different. And we have, private adoption where neither parent is the biological parent of the child, and then we have step-parent adoptions. Uh, there's roughly the same amount of things that you have to do with both of those, but obviously if we have a step-parent adoption, that's a little easier because you are terminating only one parent's right, and you have the other parent that's joining you in the adoption, and it's a lot easier when you're not having to terminate both parents' rights and fight for that. So if we have a situation where it's another couple that's having the baby, and you and your spouse are wanting to adopt that baby, what can you do? I had a question recently of, can we help them with certain expenses moving forward? And that's a topic that needs to be very carefully looked at. There are certain expenses that, yes, you can pay for them and not get in trouble. And then there's other expenses that can get you in trouble and could affect your ability to adopt. So that's something that you would probably just want to reach out and verify. Typically, the expenses that are okay are going to be medical expenses, any counseling fees, and legal fees for the adoption. So before you really want to move forward, here's some things to consider and that you'll want to get in place. You want to do you get the information, factual information on the background for this child. So there's a report that we call the Health, Education, Safety, and Health, Social, Education, and Genetic History Report. I'll get it in a minute. That's a report that gets filed with the court, and it basically just kind of gives the background of the parents. And this allows the adoptive parents to know, do we have any genetic history that might be something that would affect this child moving forward that they should be aware of. Get that information ahead of time, and that report would be filed after paperwork with the court is filed. So another big thing to consider is, where is the child that you're adopting? Is the child in Texas or is it in another state? So there's a form that you have to put out that we affectionately call the ICPC. It's the Interstate Child. Let me get this right. I have it pulled up here. I always have to look the terms of that up. So it is the Interstate Compact on the Placement of Children. There we go. I know I'll get it in a minute. So this is whenever you have a child in another state, there's a compact that you have to comply with that allows for the legal transport of a child from one state to another in a foster or adoption placement. And so you want to make sure that you follow everything that you need to do with that. That's another thing that you would want to talk to an attorney about, to make sure that you are following all the rules with that. And then that's a certificate that's filed with the court as well, to show that you've complied with that or not complied with that. So you want to make sure, since you're taking a child across state lines, that you have full authority to do that, so that you're not getting a federal kidnapping charge potential on you when you're just doing the right thing for a child. So once you file the case with the court, some things that you should be aware of is the court will appoint an attorney that represents the interests of the child. And typically, well, that is a cost that will be on the adopting parents. And it's hard to determine what that cost will be. It's a range usually, because it depends on who gets appointed, what their rates are. And so that's an expense that you should be aware of. Another expense that you would be looking at, in addition to your own attorney fees and the attorney fees for the attorney for the child, is you'll have to get a adoption evaluation. So that, we used to call it a pre and a post placement home evaluation study. And now they just kind of combine those, and it's called an adoption study. And the child will need to be placed or in your home for 6 months. That's a consideration that you need to be prepared for. And there's paperwork that we put in place so that the child is legally with you for that 6 months. So you'll want to do that. You'll also have to run a criminal history report. In some counties, we have that done with the evaluation, and in other counties, it's done separately. But they will do a criminal history report on both parents placing or adopting the child. And so one thing that sometimes, especially with COVID, things take a little bit longer than they normally would have. You just have to know that that criminal history report has to be less than a year old from the date of the request. So if you run a criminal history report, a couple of years ago, they're going to want to see a new one. So it's just a safe bet to just go ahead and do it again, so that it is up to date and ready to go for this. You'll need to just prove to the court that termination of parental rights for the biological parents is in the child's best interest, and you're adopting the child is in their best interest as well. So let's see. got my little checklist to make sure that we talk about everything. Once you've jumped through all these hoops, you get to prove out the adoption in court. Right now, it depends on which county you're in and which court you're in, on whether or not that's done in person, via a Zoom. I'm really hoping that we get to do most of them in person, just because of that dynamic that happens. And it's just such a celebratory moment in court that I think that it would be missed out on if you did it via video. Although you'll probably be able to get it in front of the court a little quicker if they do that case via video. If you have a child that you're adopting that's 12 or older, they have to give their consent to the adoption. I always thought that was a neat aspect. And a lot of times when we have older children that are being adopted, they get to go in and they get to talk to the judge. And we actually call them as a witness a lot and have them tell the judge how they feel about it. So that's kind of a fun moment for everyone. And then we just file the adoption order. Once that's granted, everything gets sent to the state, and you're able to get a new birth certificate with the name change of the child and listing the adopted parents as the parents. So that's a real quick rundown on what you can expect with an adoption. There's a lot of little aspects to it. They're not ever hard, but each step takes their own time. And so it's one of those things you want to get started as soon as you can, so that things progress as quickly as they can, and we get this child in their forever home and everything's settled and finalized, so that they have that safety and security of knowing exactly that they are in their home and that's where they will stay. And coming up on the holidays, it's a good time to do that. I can't think of a better gift to give to a child for wanting their home. So as always, if you have any questions or you want to, just discuss the possibility of an adoption or any other family law issue that you're facing, just give me a call at 832-919-6595. You can also email me anytime at Duana, D-U-A-N-A, at boswelltexaslaw.com. You can also give me a direct message through Facebook Messenger, and I will respond to those. There's no obligation for any of those. My goal is to educate people as much as I can on their rights, without them feeling that they're going to have to go into debt to just learn what their rights are. So we offer a free 15-minute phone consultation, and if you want a more in-depth consultation, we do have longer consultations for a small fee. And we just really want to help as many people as we can with their legal needs. And our goal at Boswell Law Firm is to provide peace in the chaos of your legal battle. And we're here anytime that you guys need us. So go out and enjoy this weather. It's a beautiful day. Try not to be cooped up too much. Take care and be safe. And we will talk to you next week. Bye for now.